Everyone keeps talking about Portugal, about Bali, about Thailand, but nobody's talking about Vietnam. Not yet. Because while the world is cracking down on digital nomads, Vietnam just opened the door. Long-term visas, low cost of living, and a government that actually wants you there. But there's one thing nobody's warning you about, and if you miss it, this dream could backfire hard. In 2025, being a digital nomad isn't what it used to be. Visa runs, tax nightmares, unstable income, and now, companies pulling remote work right out from under you. So when a country like Vietnam quietly launches a 10-year visa for investors and entrepreneurs, people are paying attention, and some are already packing their bags again. But before you book your flight, there are some things you need to know. Let's rewind for a second. Back in 2021, remote work felt like a revolution. You didn't need permission to quit your job, fly across the world, and live out of a laptop bag. Suddenly, it wasn't just possible to work from anywhere, it was normal. And that lit a fire under a generation of people who were tired of the system. People started businesses, moved to Southeast Asia, posted beach photos, and called it freedom. But freedom didn't last. Because as fast as it all came, things started changing. Visa rules got stricter. Countries wanted proof of income, taxes, insurance, bank balances. Remote jobs started disappearing as companies forced return-to-office policies. And inflation? That hit every major nomad hub hard. Lisbon? Overcrowded and overpriced. Bali? Taxes, burnout, and broken promises. Thailand? More hoops, more costs, more red tape. Even the most freedom-loving countries were saying, not so fast. And that's when something strange happened in Vietnam. Vietnam didn't just open the door. They tore it off the hinges. Instead of chasing tourists or raising taxes, they did the opposite. They proposed a 10-year golden visa for entrepreneurs, investors, and even skilled professionals. This wasn't just some stamp in your passport. It was a real path to stability. No need for visa runs every 60 days. No pressure to marry the country's tax system. No unrealistic local job requirements. You could invest in a business or even just make a deposit and have the right to live in Vietnam long-term. And not just live there, but build something. This isn't a fantasy, it's policy. The proposal was backed by Vietnam's Tourism Advisory Board, aimed at competing with Thailand and Malaysia, and was submitted directly to the Prime Minister. They're not guessing here. They want digital nomads, especially the ones with money and skills. The plan includes 1. A 10-year investor visa with the potential for permanent residency. 2. A 5-year talent visa with simplified renewals. 3. The start of a broader golden visa program like those in Europe. Now, this might sound like just another headline, but for anyone who's been running from place to place for the past 2 to 3 years, this is the kind of option we've been dreaming about. Let's break it down. If you're an investor, you can qualify by putting capital into a local company or even a passive investment vehicle. Unlike before, you don't have to physically run a business inside Vietnam. If you're a skilled professional or digital worker, the 5-year talent visa might be your path, and they're making renewals easy. If you're a remote entrepreneur, this opens up long-term living without the stress of violating tourist visa limits or hopping countries every 60 days. Even better, Vietnam is affordable still. Rent in Da Nang? $300 to $500 for a modern apartment. Meals $1 $3. Co-working spaces? Everywhere internet, fast, and the lifestyle? It's not overhyped yet. No digital nomad bubble. No inflated expectations. No Instagram influencer circus. It's real life and it works. So what's the catch? There's always a catch. Because while Vietnam is offering something huge, most digital nomads still won't qualify. Why? Because they're not business owners. They're not investors. They're not building anything with leverage. They're freelancers scraping by, or remote workers hanging onto a job they could lose any day. To qualify for these visas, especially the good ones, you'll need one of 3 things. 1. Capital. 2. Income. 3. Proof of value. And most people running the typical nomad lifestyle don't have any of that. They've built their life around flexibility, not sustainability. Which means when it comes time to prove their worth to a government, they can't. That's the part nobody wants to say out loud. You can't just travel your way to freedom. You have to own the engine that funds it. Here's the hard truth. Being a digital nomad only works if you're making real money, consistently, and if that money doesn't depend on someone else letting you stay on payroll. Most people don't want to admit that. They think being location independent means chasing Upwork jobs, burning out on Fiverr, or reselling dropship junk from coffee shops. But that's just survival. And when survival is your baseline, you can't build anything long-term. So even if Vietnam hands you the keys, you can't do anything with them unless you've built something worth protecting. The people who will win with this visa, they're not the trend followers. They're the builders. People who have businesses that move with them. Income that doesn't stop when they travel. Systems that pay them, even when they're offline. That's how you actually qualify. That's how you actually stay. That's how you actually win. Let's shift gears for a second. What if instead of relying on clients or contracts or jobs, you own the asset? What if you built a simple, duplicatable, no employees needed online business that worked globally, paid you monthly, let you operate 100% remotely, and could even grow while you were asleep? Now, I'm not talking about crypto gambling. I'm not talking about reselling courses you didn't make. I'm talking about a business that helps people travel smarter, save money on real bookings, and even join you in earning from it. Without ads, without fancy funnels, and without you being on camera. A business model that's already global, already legal, and already working for people living this lifestyle in countries like Vietnam, Malaysia, Colombia, and Turkey. And before you ask, no, this isn't influencer nonsense or DM 100 people a day spam. You don't need to be a guru. You don't need to sell to friends. And you don't need a huge following. You just need to follow a system, a real one, with mentorship, materials, and monthly income potential. The kind of system that gives you leverage, not just freedom. And once you have that, countries like Vietnam stop being an escape plan. They become your launchpad. Let's play this out. Let's say you build this kind of business, a lean, mobile, travel-aligned income stream. And then you do this. Get the 5 or 10-year visa in Vietnam. Set up your tax and legal base properly. Use Vietnam as your low-cost lifestyle hub. Travel 3 to 6 months a year to nearby countries like Indonesia, Cambodia, Thailand. Keep your business entirely online, no office, no team. Now you've got freedom to stay, freedom to leave, a business that funds the lifestyle, and a country that actually welcomes you. That's what most nomads say they want, but only a few ever build. This model is how you do it. And Vietnam, it might be your best shot. Because once this visa becomes law, and it will, the floodgates are going to open. The early movers will get the best terms. Latecomers will get the scraps. So here's the question. Are you just chasing escape? Or are you building something you can take anywhere? Vietnam is sending a message. We want the right people. The builders. The earners. The contributors. And if that's you, it might just become the safest, smartest, most underrated base for digital freedom in the world. But only if you've built the engine first. Watch the next video. That's where your freedom starts.